stars now, a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversations open doors. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Another cup of cheer. Every thought becomes so clear. From stage tunes and bubbling streams, waking up to brand new dreams. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversation.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, guys. How are you doing? I was dancing. I was a little late this morning. And not that I didn't wake up on time, but I was late to the gate. I might have been still getting ready 15 minutes before the show, like shampoo and conditioner were still doing their job, kind of getting ready. So here I am, hoping I don't get an ear infection because I didn't think about drying the ear canal before I plugged them in to do this today. And I know it seems a little silly, but look, I'm a big kid. Sometimes I'm running to the finish line just like some of my clients. The difference is I've learned to enjoy it. I really like trying to see if I can get that last minute shower in with 15 minutes to go live. And we did it. Now, other story, maybe forgot to reboot my laptop last night, and maybe there's an update waiting, and maybe I had to fight with that a little bit this morning and even reset the computer once I was in the studio because, oops. But listen, that's part of life. And I just wanted to own it as we start the show this morning because truthfully, we're all just big kids. And as much as we have changed, there are some things that just haven't, at least in my life. And I wanted to talk through, what the differences are today and what the differences were back then and really get into the truth of the matter. Like, what are we waiting on? Everybody wants to grow up. And why do we want to grow up? It's because we want to do what we want. And then when we finally get to do what we want, do we do what we want? Or are we doing what we need to do? And then why did that change? And what did it, what inside of us shifted to make us want to grow up? And finger quotes, right? Like, what does grown up mean to you? Tell me in the comment section. What does growing up, being a grown up mean to you? What is being grown in your opinion? Tell me in the comments. What does that mean? And if you're new to the show, let me say hi. We are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you are on any of those platforms, you should jump over and get another subscription started. Go to YouTube if you're on LinkedIn, because sometimes, like Gabe said, it gets wonky and you just want to have a backup. These days, I have both going. Usually I will mute LinkedIn, go to YouTube, stay in the feed. It's a few seconds faster. Get the comments up there a little bit quicker. Give a little support to the YouTube that people aren't actually on very often, right? A lot of our friends aren't over there hanging out, and it tends to glitch a little less. But I like to comment on LinkedIn. I do. I like to play in both. And so you'll see me on both. Find what works for you. But if you're looking for me, it's documentandact.com on all of the platforms. I'm also on TikTok, guys. I'm growing. I'm doing things. So make sure you're subscribed over there. Also, if we're just meeting each other, my name is Melissa Houston. I'm the cultivator of dreams, motivator of human capital. And what that really means is I take big kids and I help them figure out what they want to be when they grow up. And truthfully, I help anybody. The scope has been vast and wide, from my work in nonprofits with Wakabumi, working with the youth, the leaders of tomorrow with Felipe Cofino, collating that. We spend some time with the children, right? And then working my way up through different organizations, sales, marketing, compliance, and operations have been my pillars. I've also been a recruiter, certified I don't even know what's on my certified staffing specialist. Sorry, my brain just glitched. Employment consultant. I was helping people figure out what they wanted to be there too, and get their resumes together and present them to employers. And so I've kind of done a little bit of everything. I have worked from the ground up, and that's what I bring to LinkedIn, is stories of how I built with my blocks. I pulled out my crayons, did my Venn diagrams, and figured out what life was going to be for me. And so that's what I do here. I share that journey. Been doing it for a few years now. And I just want to say hi to everybody who's been following. And if you're new, welcome. Felipe, it's nice to meet you too. What a dork. Love this guy. He is my brother on LinkedIn. Sometimes he seems like the older, wiser brother. Sometimes he's definitely not. I'll let you guess who's actually older and wiser. It's going to be up for debate tomorrow. I am going to be live with him at 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. 11 Eastern. I don't even know. You guys do your own math. Okay, here we are. Are you ready? Let's talk about that second childhood waiting. How childlike do you really feel on a day-to-day basis? And I'm going to come back a little bit and just look at the comments and say hi before we get into far. But thanks for those who are partying in the pre-live. It says, I think if I was a Sesame Street character, I'd be Cookie Monster, Snuffleupagus. I could see that. I could. All right. Okay, my delicate ears are hurting. Felipe, turn the speakers down, but that works on your side. And let's see. Erin says, I'm probably one of Melissa's biggest kids to coach. I don't know about biggest. I don't even know about oldest, to be honest with you, but definitely one of the children. Jay says, good morning. Hi. Happy Rare Disease Day, guys. Let's see. Oh, sheesh. Okay. Yes. Stay a big kid. Good morning, Crystal. Let me see. Kenny, good morning. Show me the receipts. What receipts? I got receipts. What do you want to see? I got it all. Document, then act, right? Let's see. Felipe, yeah, nice to meet you. All right, let me get in here. Melissa, I love the work you do. Wakabumi is amazing. Really, right? Like, they just do some great work with some great kids. And hi. Okay, so we're going to get into it. You guys have all said hi to each other. Tag your friends. If you're not here commenting, but you're here, thanks for being here. I know some of you are, hiding in the background. Also, if you're still looking for the YouTube, there it is. You can scan it. You can pause it. You can come on Team Playback and do it there. But guys, let me ask you something. When was the last time you tried something just because it sounded fun? Just because it sounded fun. Something you had never done, but something that just, it was so exciting in concept that it, like, you know what, that just sounds like a good time. Let me get into that. I got to be honest, I do it as often as possible. I was trying to reflect on the last time I did this. And I think really it comes down to a lot of what I call octopus arms. Um, now, I like to just throw my arms out in the air and like wave them around like I'm an octopus. Just think about me floating in the ocean, kind of just whoop, whoop, whoop. I do that in the bike shop. I do that when I'm stressed. I've always kind of just had this extra energy. And if I just let it out of my fingertips one way or another, it works, right? Sometimes things that just sound like fun are going next door and playing the instruments at Guitar Center. Shout out to my neighbors. Sometimes what sounds fun is getting into a new audiobook, podcast, a new crayon box, a new journal, a new book I can hold and read and touch and highlight. Sometimes it's going on an adventure in the car. Sometimes it's turning on new music and letting Spotify or YouTube take me on a journey I don't understand. Just let them play, right? Let them play the music for me. Let them introduce me to new concepts. How often do you get that kind of experience? Because truthfully, I think the first step to losing your childhood, and first we're going to talk about losing it, right? I can't keep water in the cup if the cup has a hole. So let's fill the gap. My first concept, and I could be wrong, this is my idea. If you have a different idea, drop it in the comments. Welcome to share. But this is just my journey, my experience, my thought process, right? So my thought is the first step to leaving your childhood is to stop being curious, to stop having that kind of conversation with yourself, to stop, stopping. You have to, people in my childhood would tell me, sit still, be quiet, don't do that, focus, don't do that thing you're really excited to do, come back and do this math, whatever it was, right? So that's the first step. I think you need to identify that moment where you told yourself you're not allowed to play anymore. The next thing we need to do is not try to go back. Because once you identify that moment of, oh gosh, it was second grade, it's when I got my first C on my report card. It was the first time I got grounded for not doing an assignment. It was the first time I got, in trouble for fidgeting, whatever it was. I don't know. You're not going to fix that. So you just have to own the moment. You go, okay, that's where I went wrong. If you know you took a wrong turn on a road trip, you've traveled 150 miles the wrong direction. Do you go back 150 miles to start over, or do you travel forward maybe 150 miles in the right direction? You get what I'm saying? Are you with me? The other thing you have to decide, and this is where a good Venn diagram comes in for me, is choosing what you bring forward. So if we're reflecting back on the negative, we should also equally reflect back on the positive stuff. I really like to balance, right? Because otherwise we become negative. We become negative, pessimistic. We become hopeless. It's the last thing you think of when it's fun and passion is when you're in there scowling because of all the things you wish you could have, should have, would have. And so by choosing to reflect, you're choosing to tap into both sides. It was a journey to get here, and it was all encompassing of all of the feelings, emotions, experiences. But what did you love about it? When I give somebody a Venn diagram, the clarity one, the first one, I always ask them to sit down with their good, their bad, and their ugly. And it's very simple bullet points. I just want to know what your life looks like. You can go into detail if you want, but I ask them not to really. I ask them to try to keep it to one word that will summarize that portion of their life. For example, you could say marriage. Maybe I'm a wife. That could be a bullet point. I could be a mom. I could be a coach. I could be an operations manager. I could be a cook, an artist, a dreamer. I sing. I bake, I garden, right? So I can put all of these little things. I can also say, hey, I have a credit card, some credit card debt I want to take care of, right? And you have to be honest about all the things behind you. But when you're using this for your childhood, same thing. What did you love about it? What did you really do? Like when you were sitting in your seat in school, do you remember that feeling? That moment where you were like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get outside. I can't wait to get outside. What is it that you wanted to do when you got out there? Did you get with a bunch of friends? Did you love to go play a team sport? Did you like to play tetherball? Was it the swing set? Did you want to do jogging, hopscotch? What did you have? What was that thing? Did you like to just hang out on the wall with your book and draw? What are those things that you did that maybe you've put down that you forgot you've put down? Those things that your family, when you were 5 or 10, that's all they could think of. If they thought of you, they thought of what in your hand. Because when I think of my daughter, right, Peyton, she's at home. She's the last of my baby. She's almost out of the house. And when I think of her, there is not a time in her life where I did not see an artistic tool. She was my artist. If I had to give her any title, that was the one. It was always a crayon, a marker, a paintbrush, a nail file. Like she even does her nails, her hair. She bakes. She likes to get artistic in the way that she does the macarons in the kitchen that she learned how to do during COVID, right? These are things she's going to take with her. Think about what you're taking with you. I'm going to jump into the comments so I don't get too far away. I'm not going to read them all. I'm just going to kind of pop them up and give you guys some time while I read it. What was it that you did, Felipe? Oh, here it is. We just played Pictionary with some friends. This is so great. I had a customer just yesterday drop off laser tag for the store. Not really sure how this works. It's something I didn't open because I was at work, but I'm excited to maybe do an event with Slice and take my cycle gear team over there and just treat them to some pasta breadsticks and board games or something. Jason says, same as far as doing things that are fun. It keeps me curious. Guys, what are your favorite habits? I'm going to clear my throat and get water. Okay, I'm back. Felipe says, always be curious. Yes, yes, yes. ABC, not always be closing, but always be curious. I think always be closing too. I have to close myself all the time. If I don't motivate myself for the close, I'll never get there. But that's the sales in me, right? And I think it's true for everybody to figure out your own ABCs, but being curious is helpful. Being in your fun and passion is something that I think is really important to do in life to stay motivated to get into your play. And Jay says it's not difficult to think about it's difficult to not think about your childhood. There could be events in your childhood that you wish could not happen. Absolutely. I'll be honest, guys, everybody has the worst day of their childhood locked in. They know what it is. If I ask you right now, you have that moment, and everybody has their own, and it's not a measuring stick of who had it worse or who did what, because everybody's worst day is everybody's worst day. I've always said that. But I think we get to decide how long we play with it. I always called it my Jack in the Box moments. As a child, I had a lot of trauma, multiple layers, multiple ways. And I really don't want that to be the focus of the show, but I can tell you there are parts of that childhood I do not want to bring forward with me. It will not overlap with other aspects of my life. Now, it will still be a part of me. It's still going to be a Jack in the Box. It's still going to be in that quiet little room in the corner of my mind, all light, little padded, where all the crazy parts of life have lived. And forgive my titles, right, and terminology, but the truth is it was chaos. It was the dark spots on a very bright life. And so what I did is I put them away. I put them in a box, very much like that Jack in the Box toy. And when I start to feel it coming, when I can feel that moment resurfacing, I hear it. Dun, 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 dun. And I either run like hell or I go, okay, it's time to play. And I have to sit down and be ready for what's about to pop up because emotionally, even now, thinking about it, guys, one of my left eye is like, why am I getting a little moist over here? And I'm like, hey, we're not doing it. We're not. But everybody has those moments. And my moments might not look like yours on the inside of that box, but they sure do sound the same when they start creeping in. Right. And everybody knows what that jump scare looks like when it finally pops on you. And so the big thing is one, you can't just shove it down forever. You do have to bring it out and play with it. And you got to do it in a safe space. And that's why I do have it in a padded room, quietly tucked away, because when I go in, it is just me, my thoughts, my things, and I have to deal with it. But I'm always ready when I enter the room. And that's really where we come back to, right? You have to decide when you're ready. You can touch them, you cannot. But you do have to make sure that you're aware of them, you're acknowledging them, and you're working to work on them at least. Because if you don't address that room, it's going to start piling box after box after box. And then when you open that door, that thing is just going to overwhelm you and just pour out. Are you with me? Is the analogy too deep? I'm trying to keep it light, but in the same aspect, I want to make sure that we're understanding each other, okay? Felipe says playing tag, hide and seek, snowball fights, touch football, bike riding to the store. I love that. My first winter in Nebraska, my favorite gas station I would go to for coffee in the morning, I told the manager there, I can't wait for snow, Arizona girl, this and that. And she said, stop, don't say that ever to me. We're from Nebraska. You don't say that. I was like, when it happens, I'm coming to throw a snowball at you. I am. And I did, actually. And to this day, it will live on in her brain forever because I showed up snow boots, pajamas, snow coat, and I threw a snowball right at her. It was so fun. And then we had a snowball fight at 2 a.m. and the neighbors were watching and laughing at us. And we were mid-20s, late 20s. It was fantastic. Guys, these are moments I'm never going to forget. And if I do, it's okay because it's going to have already paid me multiple smiles over. And until the time it does finally just go away because it's replaced by something even grander, right? Keep your curiosity. Felipe, it's like you were stealing my notes. But truthfully, ask the questions. Learn new skills. Stay open to growth. If you see somebody as having their best day ever from your side of the world, right? Your perspective, you're watching them and they're just in their zone. They're everything you wish you could be. It's like Mickey Mouse just popped out of this human and the energy is there. Ask them, what are you doing today? What have you been up to? What's new with you? Because the truth is, whatever it is that they're feeding themselves is working. And it may not work for you, but it might create some movement in your brain. It might give you an idea. It might make you think, well, how could I make this work for me? And if it's something as simple as like wheatgrass, I'm no joke, guys. I'm throwing my phone stand around. Okay. Taking you back to 2000. Just had a baby. 2003-4, because he's toddler. He's walking, but we're holding hands and we're doing short walks because he's got little legs. But there was a Jamba Juice just up the corner from my house. I think they were pretty new at the time. I just know that word was on the street that wheatgrass was the way to go for health. And I was trying to lose weight. Being a mom, I had gained quite a bit of weight after having my son. And I just couldn't get it off. And so I thought, well, I'm going to smoothie my life. And I went up there and I tried the wheatgrass. And there was something about it that literally made me smile all day long. I don't know if it was placebo. There was a little card on the table that said, if there's some stuff in here that makes you smile. And I was like, wow, okay, whatever it was working. But then when people are like, wow, you seem so much happier. You seem energetic. I was like, it's wheatgrass. And maybe that was a small thing, or maybe it was taking a daily walk with the kid, the pet store visits after we went to Jamba Juice. And we would go walk around and look at the fish and the turtles and the puppies. We would stop at the gas station, maybe share a little 6-inch sub just on the way home, a couple of bites each or whatever, just something fun. Maybe it was the fact that Melissa was in self-care mode for the first time in 3 years. But even asking the question to me in that moment would have made me question my answer to you. And therefore, we're still staying open to growth, right? Just having that conversation keeps it moving, just keeps that momentum, that bubble floating along. And as you learn new skills, hey, I've learned about the power of a smoothie. I learned about the power of photosynthesis and wheatgrass, and that if I can take a shot of tequila, that's not going to make me feel as good as this wheatgrass, then I can suffer through the wheatgrass. I can. Right. I still can't do powder protein shakes. And no matter how much I try to love myself, I don't love myself that much to terrorize myself to that degree. But guys, just remember, right? Ask yourself questions. Why am I not enjoying this? What about this don't I enjoy? That's a valid question too. But just remember to pause, slow down, take in some new stuff. It's not going to be an overnight process all the time. Sometimes it's going to take you a while to gather those new skills. You are not going to go into Canva tomorrow and become the queen of Canva, but you will start your journey for that. You will go into Canva and you will find, especially if you're a pro member, that they have an academy in there and that they will teach you how to use it. YouTube University, we've talked about it, but it's going to take you a little time to go watch the videos, to go open your Canva and play along with the tutors on YouTube, right? Same with any skill, guys. It's not going to be overnight. And if you're setting yourself up with that expectation, I'm already wondering, you've got me curious. How do you think that's going to work? Ask yourself the question, how do you think that actually works out when you've already been so busy recently with all the other things you told me you were busy with, you told yourself you were busy with? How are you just going to become an overnight success on something you're not putting any time or effort into? And if you think you're going to do it, then are you being kind to yourself in that journey? These are things to contemplate. If you're growing, are you growing an attitude? Are you growing something healthy? Are you growing skills, but also growing frustrated and cranky? What kind of life do you want? You got to ask yourself that. And then you got to bring back play with intention. Schedule fun. We've talked about schedule for the yes. If you've coached with me, you know that I will ask you to find an hour every day just for the yes. You're not allowed to fill it in. You're not. It's a free space. You have to keep free all day. It's like the bingo card. You don't know what else is going to pop up to make a bingo a line in your life on that card. And so you just have to keep that center space like free, right? No matter what, as long as it's there, it's in a really prime position. So are you. What happens if you spend years building your brand to get your big break and then they call and you don't have time to take the call? Or you tell them, I would love to work with you, but because I'm a person of my word, I can't cancel the appointments and I've booked myself out for a month. Can we meet next month? They're like, no, the offer is dead and void. It will be done by then. Right? And so schedule for fun, but also schedule for the yes. Scheduling for the yes means you could have fun by saying yes to your dream job. You could have fun by going to a concert with your best friend. You could have fun by going to a sip and paint with your friend or yourself. Or you could go home and read a book. You could go home and plant some plants. These are all of my favorite things, guys. I don't know what yours are. I actually had to do a part 2 because I had so many different concepts of what fun and passion look like for people. But you have to schedule for it and you have to protect the time. If you do not make time for your passions, nobody else will. They're still trying to make time for theirs. They're still learning. They're still growing. They're still upskilling. They're still mom. They're still wife. They're still husband. They're still insert here. But how many of those greats that we have seen in our past, in history, the people we want to emulate, were all of those things also? When I think of my daughter, I think artist. I don't think student, although she is. Right? I don't think gamer, although she games. There are many ways we can have this overlap, but what is it that you're prioritizing? When people think of my brand, I'm going to poll the audience. Melissa's brand is, just start the sentence and fill it out. What is it for you? What is it you see when you see me? Because truthfully, I have a hope in my brain. I hope when you see me, You have something that automatically pops. And there's a few things in that Venn diagram for me, lots of bullet points there. So there's no real wrong answer. Don't be scared to answer. The wrong answer is that my brand isn't being clear enough if you don't answer the way I'm hoping to hear, right? But then I'm also going to ask you to do a secondary question. And what does your calendar tell me about your brand, your life, who you are? If you have some fun, your energy restores. We've talked about the teenager who will like sluggishly drag themselves out of bed to do the laundry, do the trash, do the chore. But if you say, hey, Bobby, here's your controller, Bobby and all of his friends can spend 2 days straight, not sleeping, not eating, not drinking, and just go play video games. It's because they're having fun. Fun and passion fills the tank every time. And if you're not making your life full of it, then you're feeding yourself the junk. You're responsible for that. I hate to say it, but as a coach, the accountability comes back to you because that's your calendar. You're filling or allowing people to fill on your behalf. Other ways people play. I put books here twice because one, I like to read them, but the other, I like to write them, guys. I came back. Oh, I guess I duplicated a few things. I love this, but look, motorcycle. That's what I think. When I've been at the shop, just watching people on their bikes restores my energy. People ask me, how do you do everything you do? You have multiple jobs. You're a coach to many. Okay. So that in and of itself is multiple jobs. In one job, but multiple faces. I run a retail environment, motorcycle shop. That's another job. It's 40 to 45 hours a week. I'm in that facet of life. And then I also am the marketing and events director for Sliced. Right. And so how do I do it all? I diversify. When I'm hungry, I go hang out at the lounge and I eat really good pasta and jalapeno poppers and steaks and all the good stuff. It's so good, guys. You got to come to Washington. I'm taking you to Sliced if you do. But the food's phenomenal. I can sit there and do some marketing while I eat because I'm coloring while I have pasta. That's an easy thing. I can sit in the motorcycle shop and sell gear and look at motorcycles and be excited about what they're coloring and they're doing on their bike, their little Lego build out version kind of thing, right? If you think about it, they're just building their favorite model and they get to ride it when they're done. That's cool. And that's completely different than the coaching I do here, although I'm still teaching them compliance of laws, motorcycle rules, gear, how long each piece of article they're wearing will like protect them if they were sliding on the ground. I teach them about airbags, completely different than here. But when I'm here, I teach you guys safety, compliance, all of the same things in a different way. And I also get to color with these kind of fun slides and StreamYard and all of the social that comes with it, right? So I do it by diversifying how I move. I do it by making sure one fills another. Me having a good day coaching before I go to the motorcycle shop makes me feel great. Having 1 or 2 sessions in the morning before they're even open, then I go have a successful day in the shop. And then 1 day, 2 days a week, I'm working with Slice to do their other stuff. It's not a lot. It's a balance. And then I'm a mom and I'm a this and I'm a that, right? The next step of that, though, is choosing your people carefully. You have to watch your circle. I would not be as successful if Sliced was not open to this idea, if my employer was not flexible about knowing that this is something I did before I met them, knowing that I can bring results and knowing that I am well aware of trying to protect the brands as a whole and that I can do all the things because I respect the roles enough to know when I need to pause this here and move into something else I promised somebody else, right? And that's like an accountability thing for me. The other thing is, do you have the friends? And I have a lot of young people in this town. It's a college age town, but I watch them. And some of the coolest things about the young people I know in this town is they are phenomenal in who they are individually. But as a friend group, I'm really impressed. They're the most well-traveled youth I've ever met. Some have traveled to like 13 countries. One of them was born in Germany, raised in France, lives here now, spent time in England. Another is heading to Brazil later this month. I'm just in awe. Then they do things like snowboarding and rock climbing and, of course, riding motorcycles. And then they're taking another friend group set is taking a trip down the coast for spring break. That's a cool friend group, guys. That's the kind of friend group I want to be part of because they're going to drag me along. They are going to take me with them on trips, right? And not really, I'm their boss in a lot of ways, so I'm not, or they're my clients. But think about your friends. Felipe and I, tomorrow, we're doing our live show. That's something where we're laughing together, we're growing together, we're supporting each other, we're building community. Look at the people in the comments today. We're playing, we're laughing, but the truth is there's hard work being done behind the scenes. Some of these people are former clients. Some of these people could be future clients. Some of them are just really good friends that all of them are people I met on LinkedIn. And if you're not seeing it, guys, because you're on a different platform and I'm not posting every comment on this stage, go find it. Go watch live on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever it's popping off. And right now, LinkedIn is popping. Who is your favorite person in your life to build with? And you don't have to tag them. You don't have to tell me. If you have a tag team partner that you're constantly building things or bouncing ideas off of, somebody who's not just a yes man, but a no man too. Somebody who's going to go, wait a minute, I don't like this. I'll be honest. If I was anybody's no man, it's probably Felipe. He hears no from me more than anything. If he texts me something, I don't even sugarcoat it. I don't mean to. I'm very busy sometimes. And so with Felipe, I'm just like, no, I don't like it. No, do this. No, change that. No. So, can you do it and have fun doing it? Because the truth is, I love helping people. I love the community. I know that I can pick up a phone and call Gabe and say, Gabe, I don't understand something. Aaron, I don't get it. Felipe, HR issue question. Kenny, I need to know something about a lab. What kind of coat do I need? I don't know. And maybe it's going to be about a fruit cake. He sends a lot of cake around. I'm shocked. I feel like we're on a very short break on this fruit cake. Also, Gabe says he's the queen of Canva. Fight me. Well, I mean, we don't have to fight. I'll let you have your crown. Can I just also have a tiara? Like, wear the crown. I just want something sparkly in my hair. Let's see. I'm a master at, oh, what does that mean? What is that? Okay. But Substack, yeah, I'm on Substack. I don't get it yet, guys. I don't. I'm over there. Not really sure the differences of the types of posts, but I try to get in there. I haven't done anything, right? Gabe says it's hard to grow an attitude when it's naturally ingrained, right, Kenny Dunner? Oh, no. All right, crayons and cheese, Gabe says. I'm trying to look at all. I'm going to jump ahead. Okay, Coach Carey says, my calendar is my boss, and I don't let anyone else fill it but me, Melissa Houston. I love that. The first thing you should do as an entrepreneur or somebody who wants to be in control of their destiny is take over that part of your life. Now, I'm flexible. I'm a mom, right? So I hear mom. I hear mom a lot. And that definitely will interrupt a day. If the phone rings from a client, that can interrupt a day. But they have my permission. They have my number because I gave it to them, right? And I have the permission to not answer immediately. I am not 911. I am not an emergency health services. I am a coach. But you can text me if I don't answer. Right? I will call you back. Anybody who works with me knows, but having that respect for yourself to not run off like you are 911 for somebody else's fire. One of my hardest lessons was your failure to prepare is not my emergency. And I was like, oh, I don't know where I heard it first, but I just remember sitting in the moment going, that's powerful. Like, just because you didn't get going doesn't mean I got to run around like a chicken with my head cut off now. And I loved the empowerment of the moment of saying, no, thank you. I'm not opting into that. Because the truth was they were going to get it done either way. But if you're already late, why should I rush? Unless the house is literally on fire, unless there's something actively pouring onto the floor, why am I in race mode for somebody who didn't find it a priority earlier? Now, granted, I'm not a healthcare professional, right? I'm saying this. I'm not doing anything that's on that kind of tight deadline often. But if a client needs me, they can say 911. As long as it's not always 911, I'm a happy girl. It's a boundary thing. So small wins, they rebuild confidence. Sometimes, guys, life happens. Sometimes we lose. Every great sports team has lost. Every single one of them. Every Super Bowl championship team has lost. You can't just give up, though, right? It's how we recover from the losses that really changes how we move in life. And the recovery effort does look different for everybody. Depends on the loss. It depends on the human and where you are and what you need based on why you lost. But you could start chipping away at that. If you know you're trying to travel and your path becomes blocked with some vines, you can get a to-do list together, right? If you know you can't move forward because you're in a roadblock, you find a way over, around, under, or through. And that comes in a form of a to-do list. You just have to get yourself ready for that. And if you know what the problem is, then you can start assessing solutions, right? When you know where the leak comes from, you can stop the leak. You got to finish the task. A lot of the times when we don't have confidence is because we have too many things we're not finishing. A finished task tickles your brain. There's scientific evidence that when you complete something, there is a chemical response in your brain that happens. There's something that triggers. There's electricity. There's movement. And so finish it. I don't care if it's something as simple as, and I love starting a to-do list with something as simple as brush your teeth, wash your face, take out the trash, get dressed, wake up. Wake up is the perfect first to-do list item to tickle your brain. Because if you don't wake up, you're off the hook. You never have to scratch it off the list. And it's kind of funny. And it's kind of not. But I promise you, if you guys ever get to the day where you're looking at a to-do list that I didn't mark that line off, I hope you're giggling. I'll hope you be like, oh, her to-do list got her. She's not going to get this one done, and giggle about it. Right? But if you start that with wake up, and then you do, and you check it off, your brain still gets the tickle. Having the to-do list, having those tick marks, whether it's digitally on paper, you can see your progress. I personally like it on paper. I really do, because my notes aren't going to jump out of my phone at me. I love that they're there and there's some really great stuff, but do I remember to go in there and look every day? No, it's not a habit I've built. What I do have built is looking at my paper journal every day, at my planner, at my calendar. As you're tracking your progress, as you know how to track yourself, you're going to be able to keep your word. And not just to yourself, but others. But others definitely is important, right? To remain consistent, successful, is to be who you say you are and show that throughout your behavior. Keeping your word, doing what you say you will. When you can't trust yourself to take out the trash when you told yourself you would, and you give yourself that freebie, but you know you just let yourself slide on something you said you're not sliding on anymore, you're letting yourself down. You're not going to build confidence in the fact that you're going to actually get it done if you don't make yourself get it done. Is this resonating? When you keep your word to yourself, it makes it easier to keep it to others. It also is easier to say no to others. Because how many times have you put your priorities on the back burner for somebody else? There are times where you have to. When I was at work yesterday, for example, I have a new person training. I have somebody who has been there quite some time, but part-time, so not as steeped as others. And we've been through winter, so we're getting the wheels rolling again and the dust off and all of that. But I was in the middle of kind of refacing an area, making it prettier. And I kept getting interrupted with small questions that were very important. but I just couldn't get my stuff done. But what I knew in that moment is I could be frustrated that I'm not finishing the task, which can also happen, right? I just said finish task. Try to track the progress. I wasn't making any progress. Every time I got back there to start, I would have to stop again. But it came down to keeping my word. I'm there to train. I'm there to help. I'm there to serve the people who walk through the building first. And so keeping my word meant finishing my task may come later. I'm still going to maintain progress notes, right? Like I'm not done with this job. It is still open. It's active. It needs to be finished. But I'm going to keep my word and I'm going to do what I need to do in this moment. And sometimes you have to shift, guys. You can't always stay where you are. You definitely shouldn't sit in the same circles all the time with your friends. I love all of your faces. No offense to any of you, but I want more friends. Doesn't mean you have to be replaced. It's not like I only have so many seats in my room. It's a digital space. I can keep growing. But there are moments where being online just isn't sufficient enough. No offense. It's great. I teach people how to grow here. But being here is not everything. It's a part of it. And so for me, I have to take it offline. I have to grow. I have to have small wins outside of digital because digital is great, but it can disappear. It doesn't mean anything when I'm sitting in my living room and the power goes off and the internet's out. Phone service goes down. Can't get online. But it does mean something when I can go next door and grab a cup of tea with a neighbor. It does mean something when I can meet locally and help business leaders with that thing that they're missing because they're just not here to listen. And keeping my word to help others, right? And so there's so many facets that I could go down on this, but what is it that you need to keep your word to you about? What is that thing that's in the back of your mind? You know you've been putting it off. It's shoved in the corner. It keeps coming back, but you're not touching it yet. Those are the things that you need to work on because the more you let that slide, the more you push it back, the more you tell your brain, it's just not important. It's not a priority. It's not something we're focused on. It's not something I need to worry about. And so even if all you do is pull it out and look at the list, that's okay. You're telling your brain, this is what we're functioning on. When you buy a red car, you see a red car. The red cars were always there. But you told your brain, I'm actively looking for a red car. And so all of a sudden, you see the thing you told your brain you're looking for. Does that make sense? All right, guys, you got to give yourself a report card. This is really hard because I have talked about this a lot, and I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but if you follow Melissa Houston, you know that I use elementary education concepts, and I talk about what education means in the United States. And really what it was is created to help Americans work in the manufacturing industries. It was a push to get people to the 8th grade level so they could read and write sufficiently enough to be able to work in that way. And what they did and again, just my experience and the work that I've done to explore this historically, they created these ways of just basically going, here's your to-do list, get it done, making sure you could do it. Different ways for different industries, right? If you really think about what we do, we're just preparing for work in school. It's not something we're even hiding. We tell kids all the time, get ready. What do you want to be when you grow up? What job do you want? That's why you're here. What do you want to be when you grow up? Is like one of the first essays you have to write. They also teach you to score yourself. They check in with you. They give you accountability, and they teach you to accept that kind of accountability. They look at those people who can take feedback and run with it, and then they coach those people who can't or should have, right? And so when you think about it, think about your report cards. What did it tell you back then? I'll be honest, my report cards always said I talk too much. And now here I am having people listen to me talk for 2 hours straight, uninterrupted. Why? because it's a gift. My teachers didn't enjoy their gift. They had a 12-month subscription to Melissa's nonstop banter, chatter, excitement, energy. It was probably ADHD undiagnosed, right? I don't know because I still haven't been diagnosed, but the thought of it aligns with a lot of the pillars I see out there. I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense to me. The other thing about the report card would say she can do anything she sets her mind to. She's really good at these pillars. She's good at reading. She's good at writing. She's good at math. She would do so much better if she could stay focused. Why do you think Melissa started to-do lists? Where do you think that came from? I love this question here. Bill says, how do you celebrate your small wins? Well, when we're in our house, we had 4 kids, and one of the ways I would celebrate them doing their homework and stuff, we had an app. It's no longer active now, but it was called Our Home. And we could assign tasks, or maybe it's active, it's not the same, but we could assign tasks and we could assign points and point values to different prizes. And we started a goodie bag just like the teachers did in school. Why recreate the wheel? They already understand. I already understood. And so we would go to like our local Dollar Tree, and I would just buy a bunch of fun stuff, from little action figures to art stuff. And it was really early on when it was all the Marvel stuff was in the stores, super cheap. So we filled the goodie bag and they would be able to buy things. It worked. It worked when I was a kid. It worked for my kids. And I realized it works for me. When I was in sales, I would put single wrapped candies in a drawer. Every time I got a sale on the phone, I would give myself a candy. I was kind of like training myself like a puppy. I got a bone every time I did a trick. That was something that I did because it was just an enjoyable, quick, easy fix at the desk. Now, I don't really recommend it. I ended up really celebrating myself with food often, and it was a habit I had to change to lose weight. Sometimes it is taking an extra 5 minutes to just go sing a song and dance it out by myself. Sometimes it is taking a nap. Sometimes it's just calling and telling a friend about it and having the high five moment. You have to decide what works for you, because the motivation of candy for one of my employees would never work. He wasn't raised as a candy kid. It was fruit. So you want to celebrate a win with him. It's never going to be something with red dye 5, and it's going to be a mango. He'll be so happy with a mango. Sometimes it's a massage, right? Like you really got to figure it out for yourself. But do you celebrate the small wins is the question I would send back to the audience. How often do you give yourself that grace? Do you do it annually? New Year's time, you kind of reflect and go, hey, cool. You didn't suck this year. Good job. Or you only sucked a little bit. That's better than last year. All right, that's a win. Or do you do it monthly? Once a month, you celebrate yourself. Go get your hair done, your nails done, a massage. Do you do it weekly? Do you do it daily? Because I'll be honest, sometimes I have to celebrate wins minute by minute, moment by moment. Sometimes it's, I am so glad I could maintain my smile talking to that customer. And I celebrate the win by going, I'm going on a break. I'm going to take 2 minutes and go outside and take out the trash or whatever it is, right? You have to figure it out for yourself. But then celebrate the progress, because even if it's, customers being in retail, I'll be honest, I don't have a ton of bad customers in my store. We're very lucky with the way our store's energy works. But I've been in retail environments where it's just bad. And if every bad customer is going to be a reason you need a 5-minute break, you're never coming back to the floor. So celebrating the wins might be, you don't have to take a break every time somebody is unkind to you. You could just figure out how to fix it in that moment. Go, oh, they're having a bad day, and they just release in the moment. And if you're not sure, try better ideas, guys. We got to work together. If you have a community, if you have the friends who want to help, if you have people you can depend on or a coach, you can add people to your community. Then make the choice to reach out to them when you need it. If you're not seeing any changes, then you need to change it for yourself. right? And if you're not, I'm sorry, if you're not seeing changes, then you need to ask somebody so you can change it for yourself. Ask your friends, ask your family. Hey guys, I'm kind of like spinning my wheels over here and I just can't figure out what it is maybe that I could do differently to get out of this cycle. What do you guys see about me? And maybe it's they're like, hey, this is, we watched this happen. We've been waiting for you to tell. We knew we didn't want to tell you, but now that you've asked. Sometimes it's not just you who's got to come up with the ideas. Sometimes you need more data. Sometimes you can't run the report on yourself because it's hard to reflect when you're busy. So poll the audience, ask the room, right? When you, like I asked you guys earlier, what is it you think of when you think of Melissa Houston as a brand? There's a reason you need to ask these questions. It's because sometimes we get so blind. Sometimes we get so busy, especially a girl who likes to be as busy as I am. I need to ask my friends and take temperature and check in. I love to do a post-show review with Aaron Gibson. Like, all right, what did you hear? What did you not? Were you there? What did you take away? And I love that he'll be like, oh, no, your mic sucked. Oh, no, this was great. Oh, no, this, right? I love the feedback. Who do you get a report card from beyond yourself? Who do you talk to make sure you're doing what you said you would do and that you're not tricking yourself into not doing the thing? Because sometimes that happens, right? We give ourselves grace. Oh, I don't want to take out the trash. I'll do it in the morning. And then in the morning, I don't want to get out of bed. It's too cold. And then you wait. So then you're rushing to get ready for work. And then as you run into the kitchen to grab maybe a water bottle, because, oh my gosh, I don't even have time to eat. I'll just grab something to drink. There's the trash. And now you don't have time. That's life. We get into our blind spot moments. Also, speaking of life, Felipe just told me our show's next week. It's not tomorrow, which is, that's good news. I'm going to sleep in. Guys, life happens, right? Sometimes we need to slow down and check it out. I always review my calendar on Sundays before the show, so it's good to know. Let's talk about recovery. Every great athlete out there has a rest day, rest period. Every sports season has a break. They have the off season. Leaders take vacations. Think about the ways that the people that you want to emulate rest. When I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of wealth around me, very evidently around me. So my wealthy, people to watch grow as I was growing were like on TV. Oprah always comes to mind. Some people love her, some people don't, but I respect what she's done with her brand. Because as a child, I remember watching her be different and her energy and just the things she would say. And one of the very first episodes I can ever recall about her, beyond Tom Cruise jumping on the sofa, I think everybody remembers that one, was when she was talking about her bedroom space, like where she sleeps at night and how she has a very calm, it's like her own spa. It's quiet. She doesn't do like televisions. There's none of that stimulus. She really just made it a Zen space. And like, of all the things in the world that we could be talking about, why would they talk about this? That was the question. It wasn't even like the thought of a Zen space, but why would she share this? And I still, to this day, think about why it was so important. And as a grown-up who works a lot of facets of industries and does different things and has a lot of passions and works around other people who do a lot of things, I understand a little bit better. When I come home, when I get into my bed, when I get into my space, I want it to be all the things I need it to be, where I can recover, I can rest, I can play, I can breathe, I can dream, I can be in a spot nobody else gets to see me in, right? This is just for me. You have to figure out what that means for you. I can't tell you that your room needs to be a spa. I can't tell you that your wind down time needs to look like mine because I don't know what it looks like. If you tell me to sit still to work out a problem, I'm probably going to dislike the journey. Now, if I just naturally want to sit and reflect and be under the tree with my picnic table and basket, whatever, cool. But I really like to work out my problems while I'm scrubbing a bathtub, while the smell of bleach is lingering in the air, while I'm wiping down the mirrors and I'm just thinking about things. It seems silly, but my slowdown includes cleaning, like enjoying the process of having an audiobook on, having music on, and just disappearing from everything else that I am. When I'm cleaning, I'm not a coach. I'm not a boss. I'm just a lady who's got to clean some soap scum off of the counter or the tub, the sink. I'm the lady putting the toothpaste cap back on after a good hot rinse because maybe we got a little bit on the cap, just like you did. My recovery looks different because I rest well. I sleep good. But recovering the house to a place where when I walk through it, it smells the way I expect my house to smell. Hiding my brain, keeping my hands busy so my brain can be brilliant. Washing my hair so I stimulate the brain thought. I have some of my best ideas when I'm in the shower. I don't know about you guys, but where do you do your best thinking? Where's a place of rest that doesn't look like rest? When people tell you to slow down, it doesn't mean stop. And that's something else I want to clear up right now. You don't have to stop. You just have to go slow enough to make sure you know what you're doing. You have time to think about your decisions before you make them, and that you don't feel like you're overwhelmed, overrun, tired, or burnt out. Because energy is a resource we cannot replace very effectively. You need sleep. Sleep takes time. Can't even promise good sleep all the time, right? You have to make sure your mind is in a good space to be able to balance your sleep and your work. And you can't recover if you're not resting well. If you work your body so hard that it hurts when you move, even when you're sleeping, as you adjust your body, turn over, grab the covers, you're aching. It will wake you up. So you have to be careful how far you push yourself, how long you stay there, and how you recover, where you recover, how you protect your energy. And why do you always need to recover from that one space, one person, one place? If you're always burning yourself out in that room, why are you in the room? Is it a room you're supposed to be in? Is it something that you feel you should be doing? Or are you just burning energy and not understanding where it's going? Do you know how to refill your energy source? What puts it right back in? I have taught this a lot, but one of my favorite things is Disney music. When I'm in a bad mood, when I'm not feeling great, when my energy is low, I will turn on Disney. I love this Tarzan soundtrack. It just speaks to my soul and wakes me up. I love to sing. I think singing is a great way to relieve stress. It does deep breathing, especially if you're trying to be Whitney or Mariah in the car. You have to take those deep breaths in to hit those long notes. Controlled breathing. You're adding oxygen to your blood. You're releasing those feelings. It's a scream, not a scream, but your body doesn't know the difference. Have you what a bod? I mean, I don't know. There's all these different things you could do. I don't know why that's cute in my head. I don't even like the guy. But just turn on the music and just go, right? Just go. Sometimes that's how Melissa does it. But the fact is, I have to protect myself. I have to balance it out because I have so many irons in the fire. If I trip, we're in trouble. If I trip, I let somebody else down. If I don't protect myself, what is this for? I'm building a future. I'm taking you with me, but I'm building my future. This is just a step of it. This is part of that process. And if I'm not protecting myself, what am I actually building? Am I going to get cute little Christmas cards in the nursing home? Is that what I'm building to? No. Maybe. But I want to make sure that I'm going to end up in the life that I'm choosing. And that doesn't include waiting for calls or waiting for postcards. I want to be sending them. I want to be living. I want to be hosting until I can't host anymore. I want you guys to come visit. I want to make you soup and bread and stuff. Right? What does my future look like? It's whatever I want it to be. And it's going to be a balance of good food, good friends, good future. How do I protect that? How do I keep it going? I play. I don't stress myself out. Anything that stresses me out, I assess. Why am I stressed about this? Who is this person to stress me out? Why are they pushing me beyond my comfort zone? Why am I allowing this person beyond my comfort zone? Or this thing, this issue? Why am I dealing with it more than once? You have to create routines that feel good. It's up to you to decide what that looks like. You have to get clear, because what my morning looks like and what my husband's morning looked like for 18 years in a row were completely different beasts. Never the same. Some days he'd have a good day. Some days he'd have a bad day. Same here. Different reasons, different environments, different approaches. And you got to know these things. You got to know these things about yourself and your partner and your team and whoever it is you align yourself with. Because if you don't have that clarity first thing of the day, who am I working with? Who am I working for? How are we going to do it? What are my non-negotiables for the day? If you don't have that, you're going to be a little bit more bubble-like than you hope. You're going to float wherever the day takes you, and that's okay too. Having that schedule for the yes gives you that time in the day to say yes to whatever floats into your path. But do you want to be anchored into your goals, your dreams, your to-do list, or do you want the day to move you at its will? Daily movement will happen whether we like it or not. You will write your story either way. What kind of movement will it be? Who's going to be in control of it? And do you check in weekly? I've talked about the 3 to-do list system. Today's to-do list, that means the next 24 hours, non-negotiable, has to be done. Have to get it done now. This week's to-do list is a 7-day running list. And then after. Anything that comes after 7 days is on the 3rd list. And the reason I think a weekly reset is important is because you don't want to go too far off the path before you reset your drive. If I would check my route every 25 miles, I would never get 150 miles off course. If a week comes up with too many distractions consistently, I need to address it because it will likely follow me into next week. I need to look at the movement daily to make sure I'm getting the weekly outcomes and understand what that looks like. But the truth is, every day you look at your to-do list for yesterday. Did you finish it? If not, move that forward. This week, what else should be added to it? We're in this week. So what's coming today? What are those 2 extra things we're going to put on today's list? What are those things on the after list that can now be moved to this week's list? Because we just took 2 things off this week's list to move it to today's list. You should have 3 bullet points a day. Each bullet point can create its own bullet points. So don't do too much, right? And be clear on that. You are a human and life happens and the world moves and traffic and whatever it is can come up. And so you want to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself, setting yourself up to fail, because you're not going to build good routines that way. You're going to feel like you're not winning. You're going to feel like you're not capable. You're going to feel like, insert here. I've heard it all as a coach. I've heard lots of mindsets that weren't so pretty because, I just never get it done. Okay, but why? When we assessed it, it was because they needed an extra person in the office. They were overworked. They had the same team for 2 years and hadn't grown at all. And the sales had grown by double. almost triple, and they hadn't grown their internal team at all. And so that workload just kept being absorbed, small bites, a little bit faster. Sure, I can do that. Eventually, though, there's only so fast you can go before the burnout happens, before you run out of gas. If they were doing a weekly reset on those numbers and work to human ratio, it would have felt different. They could have been planning for the grow. They could have been training as they went. Are you guys still with me? And Jamie, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're listening in. Welcome back to dry land all the time. Oh, wait, I think, okay, anyway. Keep what made you you. Your best traits still matter, guys. When you think of little you, I want you to reflect back on what you really believe you had, right? And the first 3 things that came from me were kindness, imagination, and hope. Those were the 3 things that I really want to maintain. And mind you, I know I got an eyebrow and I know I got a good elbow and I like to poke a little bit, but the truth is, I do it in kindness. The only reason you guys see that side of me is because I show up to give back, and I play as I go, and I make it funny, and I try to tackle the hard stuff with myself and with my friends online, right? Doing different kinds of shows where we can banter and we can argue and we can poke, but the truth is it's all about getting to the root of the problem. It really is. Like, once we're done here, if you need anything, you can still call, even though I called you silly, or even though we joke, or even though we don't agree, the support's still there, right? And that's a kindness I didn't want to lose from my childhood. I also don't want to lose my imagination. When I was a kid, I used to play with Barbies. I used to take everything in the house I could find and use it as furniture. My grandmother's linen closet was deconstructed weekly. I would use different washcloths and roll them up and make furniture out of them. I would use old cardboard boxes and just cut it up and tape. And my grandma just let me sit there for hours just making different furniture for my Barbies. It's kind of maybe part of why my brain works the way it does. If I don't have the tools, okay, well, what does that thing do? Like, really, what does it do and how can I replicate it? I didn't have a couch, so I made a couch out of some linens. Cool. It's kind of what they did too, right? There's just stuffing and some fabric, and that's what it is. When I broke down on the side of the road, I was in an older Jag, a classic Jag. It was a great ride. But all of a sudden, this car stops going. I mean, I'm pressing the gas. It was gassing a second ago, and now it's not. And I don't understand what happened, because now it just feels like the pedal could go right to the floor. I don't get it. We roll to a stop. I get out. I assess. What I realize is there was a throttle pin that broke. It's just this one little pin that connects 2 pieces that makes your gas rev the engine, right? Your pedal rev the engine. And I'm like, oh, crud. We're in the middle of nowhere in Nevada. It's hot. It's summer. What do? We're at least 20 miles from the nearest town, at least. Well, I got creative. I used to build Barbie furniture out of linens. I can figure this out. I looked at the car and said, I bet there's 1,000,000 bolts on this car I don't actually need to use right now. I can steal it from somewhere else. And what I did, for those who haven't heard the story, is I took my glove box apart. I opened up the glove compartment. There was a screw right there holding itself, there, the dash to the frame. And I took that screw. And then I took one of those cards you use at the grocery store to get your discount membership points. And I used that as my washer. I used nail clippers, I think, to trim the edges to make it work. And I put the car back together on the side of the road in the desert because I was creative. I used my imagination. I didn't give up hope. I knew I had enough knowledge. Now that I've identified it's just this, it's not like the engine. It's just it's a screw. It's a pin. If I had a zip tie, we'd be done now. Right? What are those things that if you had a zip tie in your life, you could fix pretty quick? Do you wish you had one of your friends back from school? Did you sit at one of those tables where all of your friends kind of worked together and you did way better in the group setting because you could do some really good work, but there was this one kid who always just said the right thing to make it click for you? Sometimes we just need a second brain. Sometimes we just work better in a group environment. Sometimes it's the way they taught us to learn. And so I don't want you to beat yourself up if you feel like, oh my gosh, why should I need a coach? I'm a grown person. Why do I need some coach to tell me to do my to-do list? I'm a grown up. I run businesses. You'd be shocked at how little to-do list talk actually has to come up except me asking what's on it. The teacher saying, okay, guys, what's the homework tonight? Makes you think about the homework. She doesn't really need you to tell her. She assigned it. She knows. I could tell you what you need to be doing right away, but having that conversation with you, then maybe I just throw a little cherry on top of your Sunday. It could be something as simple as I don't like the color of your profile photo. It could be something like, hey, did you ever know that this joke you say or this way you presented this makes me think of this? Or, I don't know, insert here. You need to know where your imagination comes from. If it comes from being alone in a room with music on, do it. If it comes from being in a lecture of somebody else talking, an event like this, a coaching session, if it comes from YouTube, a podcast, a book, do that. If you know that what made you excited to play in school was a special topic, a special task, a special group setting, like maybe it was arts and crafts, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you know that there are people out there who charge people like you and I to just go paint in their building, to go do crafts in their building? Do you know you could go make a pretty good wage by selling art supplies? You could go open an art supply store and do nothing but talk to artists all day long if you wanted to. What was it that got you excited as a kid? What was that first assignment? What did you tell your teacher you wanted to be when you grew up? Because when I think back, there were a few titles that come to mind. I always wanted to be a teacher. I always just loved that they got to write on the board and they got to use all the colors they wanted, and they had the gold stars in their pocket, and a lot of them had pockets on their dress. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Guess what I have a ton of now? Guess what I do for a living? I'm not an educator in a school, but I educate on topics of all kinds often. I coach, I consult, I help form new brains, new leadership behind me. I gotta be honest, guys. I text my assistant at the motorcycle shop. He got to go to Bike Week, Daytona. I nominated him to be one of the people who got to go run our facility down there. Asked him how things were going. And without giving away too much information that's not mine to give away, when he checked in, he told me he was about 25% of the daily sales. And I don't know how that was broken down. But when I just looked at the screen and went, wow, I know what the list looked like going out there. I know how many people needed to work this for us. And I'm looking at it going, the guy I just hired a few months ago, the guy I trained, the one who took over for the top performer in the nation, assistant who I promoted onto a bigger store, he took 25% of the sales yesterday and made it his. Like he just rocked it. And that makes me proud, because not only am I being kind by sharing my knowledge, by teaching them how to be good at what they love, by using our imagination and getting creative to have fun and play and do, but it gives me hope. One, that even though that sometimes some of the coaching clients don't do what you say and they don't listen and they run off and they don't follow through and they're just not ready. And I'm not mad. It's a little sad. As a coach, you're like, dang it, I really wanted that kid to play in the game today. But then you turn around and you see other players on the team doing their thing, other players on the field knocking it out of the park. And it gives me hope to keep going. What is that thing in your life that shows you the ROI, that gives you hope, that re-engages the flame? What is it that you do that makes you want to do more? Is there anything? Because some people that I've talked to, they get really burnt out. They don't want to do anymore. They're tired. I'm tired. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to do it. What are you talking about? Why would I do that? That's more work. You mean I got to get dressed too? I got to go outside? What do you mean I got to drive across town? I got to hold a paintbrush for 2 hours and actually like pretend I want to paint? There's that mindset for some. Others, if you're like, hey, do you want to paint? You hear the room. You're like, where are you? Oh, I'm already waiting for you. I'm at the art spot. Are you here yet? No, I just invited you. I didn't even tell you when I was going. I know we're doing it now. Let's go. What kind of friends do you have? What kind of people are you to others? What kind of person are you to others, right? Like it really matters who you hang out with, who you become, and who you present to your friends group matters. I'm going to come back real quick. It says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Dr. Wayne Dyer. I like that. That's really cool. Kenny says, thus far, today's monologue is so delectable, scrumptiously, deliciously, edibly tasty, good. I almost didn't get through that. All right. Guys, thanks for coming. If you're here, I appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, please do that. Go check me out on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Substack, on TikTok, on documentthatAct.com, my website. But make sure you're subscribing. I don't want to miss out. I want to know you're here, so say hi if you're in the comments. But guys, let's build your life on purpose. I did a show, a couple of shows in a row, and I feel like this messaging is still just here. You got to face the truth. You got to look at your life and ask yourself the hard questions. Is this the life I promised myself I'd live? For those who have been following along, there have been some hard stuff that, in my marriage and my life. I'm facing some things after 18 years where I have to ask myself the same question. And as I've been talking with my husband about like what this life looks like going forward, there's so many things and I can't get into all of it because there's a lot going on here. But am I building the life I promised myself? What does my future look like? How do I keep going? Am I going to play for the next 20 years of my life, 30 years of my life, 40 years of my life? What does play look like? The other side of it is facing the truth that while a second childhood is absolutely possible, you're also going to regress with your body. And I'm not trying to wish this on you. And I hope you keep doing your stretches and workouts and all the things and take care of you. But the truth is, one of the first things I did as an employed person was be a caregiver. Matter of fact, I dropped out of high school to take care of my great-grandfather as a full-time caregiver. And then I had 2 caregiving clients while I worked at Jack in the Box because I've always been a girl who liked lots of jobs, diversity and fun. But what I learned as a caregiver through my years is that having a toddler is not much different than what it looks like when you're taking care of those at the end stage. There's a lot of the same needs happening. You're providing the same care. You're helping them with their food, their clothing, their bathing. You're making sure they don't hurt themselves. You're making sure that they don't fall down if they walk. Sometimes they need assistance, right? And so the truth is, if that's the reality, as we grow forward in life, we will eventually regress to a point where we're more toddler-like. What does that future look like for you? What does your play look like if that's your truth? And please forgive me if this is hard, but like, what if we get put back in the playpen, Rugrats style, as 80-year-old children? What are we going to do? What do our blocks look like? Who's there? How do we play? How do we still have the ripple? See, because this is the thing that really gets me. And I don't want to sound like I'm retiring, but guys, how am I going to keep doing what I promised myself if I don't have an outlet? If they put me in timeout, if they put me in a room, if they can put me in my crib and let me cry about it and check on me when they feel like it, I don't feel empowered. And so that's not the future I want. right? I don't want somebody to tell me when I'm allowed to be outside. I don't want somebody to tell me when I have to eat my peas. I don't want any of that. Will I need it? Likely. But what does that mean for me? It means setting boundaries now. It means having the conversations now. It means writing it down. So if I can't communicate at the end of my time, my family doesn't guess. You have to build your life on purpose. That's now, that's tomorrow, that's forever. And you have to choose what really matters to you. Are you going to set the standard of, I giggle, sorry. What popped in my brain was I used to always tell my family, I don't necessarily need you to take care of me. I don't mind being in a nursing home as well, as long as it's a good one, right? I want you to come to stop by visits without telling them you're coming. I want you to make sure that you bring me pie when you come. And I want you to make sure that you tell them I want my dessert before my dinner, because if I ever go out because of what I'm eating, I want to go out with the cherry pie, not the liver and onions. It seems silly, but guys, as somebody who had to face end of life plans at a young age, it's really not that silly. It really gets to the point where you can only control certain things at some point. And so what you can control, you should. And if you want to have fun by eating the pie before you eat your dinner, do it. Who's going to stop you? If you plan effectively, nobody can. And that's really what I want you to remember is when we started this show, and I'm going to open it up. If you guys want to come on stage, you can message me on LinkedIn and I'll invite you in. It didn't work a lot last time, so I want to definitely be like clicking on these things so I can talk to you. If you want to come up, just message. But coming back to the beginning, right? We have to choose what matters. We have to build our life on purpose. We have to decide what that childhood looks like. If our second childhood is coming, and we talked about like, what does it mean to have a childhood? Again, it's to be able to go have fun and do the things we want to do and play, right? So all the things we thought we were going to give ourselves when we hit adulthood at 18, it's the things that we swore that because our parents didn't let us do, we would do. And at some point, it's going to be a reality where people could take that away from you, where you don't get to decide unless you plan on what that looks like. If you have the conversations, if I look at my little artist and say, hey, your job is to make sure you sneak mom in pie once a week, she would, right? Your job is to make sure that you just check in on me. Don't take care of me, but just check in on me. That's an option. Or you might be the family who says, don't you ever put me in a nursing home. Don't you ever, ever, ever. Well, then what are you planning for that? Do you have the finances to make sure that your person can do that successfully? You have to face the truth. You can't ask for something you can't provide yourself long term. You can ask for help, but the truth is it's help is always temporary. Help is always just the Band-Aid. It's going to gap fill temporarily, but you have to fix the future. Nobody's going to be able to do it for you forever because they also have their life they're building on purpose. And as hard as that is, we have to acknowledge it. Even in your marriage, guys, in any relationship, even in your employment, I don't want to hear from my coaching clients that it's my employer's fault I don't have knowledge. If you say that to me, I did it while I was saying it out loud. I bit my bottom lip. I just started automatically going, because I want to fight the thought. The reason I would push back is nobody's going to want it more than you. Nobody's going to owe it to you more than you. Nobody's going to determine you need it more than you. And so if you're waiting for somebody else to hand deliver something you're dreaming about, you're wanting, you're craving, you're needing, why are you not looking at the person in the mirror? Why are you looking at your boss? Did they tell you that's their job? And if so, they still told you have to fill out the form to get it, didn't they? If you're mad at them for not providing it, did you go and do what they said? It's there. When they tell you that there's education reimbursement at your employer, there is a process for that. There has to be. And so if you're not asking the process, you can't be mad they didn't hand deliver your degree to your desk. You have to face the truth. You're the one who's going to fix the future. You're the one who's going to choose what matters. You're the one who's going to build your life on purpose, or you're not. You're going to write your story either way. This is something I say often because the truth is life doesn't pause. It doesn't slow down for us. It does not change a thing just because you want it to. You have to get moving. You have to write the new to-do list that will bring the new results. Or you just get to hang out and wait and see what comes. And that's not a terrible thing. I love a good lazy river. We've talked about this before, right? I love to let life come when it's lazy river time. We can't let life happen that way all the time or we lose. If you want to be in control of your life without trying to blame somebody else, then you can pick up the pen. And if you don't pick up the pen, don't blame anybody else either. It's accountability. When we were kids, we were responsible for our fun. We didn't even wait for our parents. How many times did you just slide into play? If you ever sit in a doctor's office, a waiting room, watch a kid turn the like that area into their own little battleship. I've watched kids roll around pretending they're army guys. That everybody in the room was part of war. They're just Call of Duty style. And this is years before Call of Duty. I've seen others play house or pretend they're the doctor and they're fixing their sibling. They could choose to be bored. They could choose to complain. They could choose to, or they could just drift. They could have some fun. It's up to you guys. When is that moment when I was asking you, what was that moment where you decided you weren't going to be a child anymore, that you weren't allowed to play, that you weren't allowed to have that childlike mindset? What was it? Why did you give it up? Have you given it up? Because I'll be honest, I don't know that all of my friends here on LinkedIn have. I'm hoping that this message is reaching far beyond just my friends group because I know those guys play a lot. But without the work that I've done to play in my life, I wouldn't have written in 2 books that became international bestselling, right? They're on Amazon. I get to say that I wrote in 2 books with friends and really had fun and passion doing it. Will I write again? I don't know. Maybe not out in a book, maybe in a book. Maybe it'll be on Amazon. Maybe it'll be something different. Who knows? But every day on LinkedIn, I'm writing something. Every time I pull up a slide and put some content down, I'm writing something. Every time I decide whether to pick up my pen or not, I'm determining my life. I'm writing my story. The story of he put his pen down on the desk and stood up and walked away is still part of the story. You got to figure out what it's going to look like. What are you drawing your story with? Is it a crayon? Is it a marker? Is it a highlighter? Do you have a really nice ballpoint pen you got when you graduated? Maybe it's on a dry erase board. Maybe you're an educator. Maybe it's a chalkboard. You get to pick all of that cool stuff, guys. If nothing else, I dare you to go find your favorite new book. And I say new. I want you to go to Michael's or Office Depot or whatever your closest journaling craft store. They have the diary crafting journal section, or you go to your favorite office supply store, go to Amazon if you want, but go find that cool new pen, that cool new book, that journal, that planner, that diary that's just for you, just for the kids stuff. I almost want to go back and get one of those cheap little diaries that have the cheap little lock on it. Did you ever have one? My mom bought me one and I thought it was the coolest thing to be able to keep my secrets. And my secrets were like, I ate 2 of my 4 Halloween pieces of candy this week or something. Like, I remember some of the notes. But then that's the other thing is, do you remember what you write down? Do you know that statistically you're going to remember it more when you write things down? I don't know the fact right off the top of my head today, so I won't share because I don't want to misquote. But there are proof, there's scientific data that will back up the fact that if you write it down, you'll retain it better. You're more likely to do it. So it's not just about writing your story, but it's about taking accountability. And once you read it, write it, speak it, you usually retain it. So tell yourself you're going to get it done. Write it down every day. Revisit it weekly. Revisit it daily in the morning. Did you do it yesterday? How much of that do you have to finish today? Guys, if you're not doing it alone, if you're not doing it right now, you can get started, right? This is a space right now where you could be writing it down. We have a few minutes left of the show. If you wanted to get started, you could start today. Get your pen and paper and write down the things you wish you could play. Do you want to go and do a Pictionary night like Felipe? Do you want to go do some art somewhere? You can look for events near me and put in the word art and find it. There are little spaces all over the country where you can go get creative. Heck, you can go buy a little cheap set at Walmart and go to the park and do it yourself. There are no wrong answers. You just have to want it. If you're not sure what you want, I dare you to go buy a thing of bubbles. Just go get a bottle of bubbles, go sit at the park and go blow some bubbles and think about it. Take your pen and paper with you. Blow some bubbles and watch the kids at the park play and see if that sparks your imagination. See if that brings you to a place where you can start really thinking about what you want next. What play looks like for you, what matters, what should come, what shouldn't come with you in the future. What does that look like? It's okay for things to transition and move and change. Things that are meant to be forever can still be forever, but maybe in a new way, right? Maybe you're always going to be a professional, but maybe you're going to be a professional balloon maker. Who knows? What if your dream job is right around the corner and you just don't know that you're going to meet them when you walk into your new favorite hobby store? What if you find your next partner because you guys both wanted to go sip and paint, or because you both wanted to watch the hockey game or play in volleyball on the local league for 30-year-olds? Just don't know, guys. What is it that makes you excited? What sports did you play in school? What games did you play with your friends after school? Were you mad at your parents for not getting you that basketball hoop for your driveway? Do you have one now? Do you love basketball and you just don't give yourself that gift? Think about what it is. And then do something about it, guys. You got to take action. It's document, then act. You have to figure out what that's going to look like. So, are you ready? Are you ready? Melissa is ready. I want to get up. I want to get moving. I want to get shaking. So, if you need help with career, mindset, confidence, leadership, relationships, alignment, I can help. When we start talking about what moves us, we start really having empathy for others and reflecting on how maybe what moves them and what moves us needs to overlap in some way. When we get a good Venn diagram with our life and take all of these circles and overlap them and figure out how we end up in the center, how it all is under the umbrella of just life in general, right? All of it comes down to us being ready to do what we need for the life we want. Are we living the life we promised ourselves? How far away are we? What is it that's holding us back from that thing? That second childhood, that playful life where it's just, retirement. Every retirement portfolio, binder, folder, handout ever was just like two kids skipping along at 70 years old on the beach. Right? They were playing with sandcastle. It literally reminded me of almost like a daycare flyer, but with older humans. Why? Because We're supposed to play in that time. If you go down to Florida and talk to the retirement community, it's all about the play and fun and doing what moves you and motivates you, and the warm weather for the achy bones. What does your future look like? Are you going to be sitting achy, wishing, wanting, cranky, grumpier old men style? Are you going to be grateful you acted? Are you going to have regrets of not getting something done? And what does it look like? You're running out of time right now. I don't even know how much time you have, but we're running out of time right now. And I know that because there is no clock, which means if we don't know how much time we have no time to lose. We just got to get it done so we can make sure we hit the buzzer. Just like I did with my shower. My hair is almost dry. It dried so nice. Dried so nice as we talked today, guys. What did you learn? Did you learn anything? Are you still there? Are you awake? What are your takeaways? You don't have to share them, but you can. If you're part of Team Replay, say hi. Let me know you came back to listen. What did you write down? What is that thing that makes you have fun? Tell others, because maybe your hobby, your thing could be my thing. I didn't know I liked racquetball until somebody explained it to me. And I was like, wait a minute. So we're all in a square in a room, and it bounces off of any room if you hit it hard, like any wall. And anybody could be hit at any time. Try to do it with 6 people. We took the whole family into a racquetball room, and that was the most fun I had ever had. I didn't even know what racquetball was until I took us into that room to do it as a group because somebody explained it. Plant the seed for somebody else, guys. Share what moves you. If you just go and do a post and say, hey, guys, this is my favorite hobby. Tag me. I want to know what it is. Maybe I need to be crocheting. Maybe I need to be building. Maybe I need to be cutting, scraping, sanding. I don't know. Maybe I just need to watch. Maybe you do something cool on a YouTube channel. I should be absorbing. How do I know if you don't tell? How do they know? How does anybody know if we're not communicating it? If you want to get clear on what's next, if you're not really sure, I do have a new 1-hour focused Get Clear session. It's for new clients only. Usually it's $250 to spend an hour with me. I have a couple of packages when you're buying in bulk that makes it lower, but this is that great deal. $100, guys. $100. You sit down with me, we figure it out. No interruptions, just you, just your dreams, just my mind, my plan, my Venn diagrams, helping you figure it out. If you're a business, I do want to tell you that I have some team coaching options available, and I can do some individual coaching for business leaders. It's up to you. I do some power 30-minute one-on-ones if you want to do that. And then I do a LinkedIn workshop to help your business optimize LinkedIn, bring out the best parts of you, right? I just want you to make sure that if you're showing up here, you're showing up right, that you're turning those dreams into actions with your fun and passion. And there's room for all of it. Every single stinking business out there was one of those 2 things to start. It was a solution to a problem they were passionate about. It was fun in the garage with my best friends until it was something of value. It was a passion solution for others, right? Like my father-in-law, he's a mechanic, and he will create a tool just to fix a thing because they don't make a tool that does the thing he needs to fix the thing. And I've watched this time and time again, but fun and passion. So what are your fun and passion pillars? What is it that you're bringing to life? And can you get others to opt into the fun and passion with you? This can mean relationships. This can mean friendships. This can mean business investors, community, sales, marketing. It doesn't matter. You have to figure out what it is and tell the world about it. And if you don't know how, this is how to do it. If you've coached with me before, I'm doing social selling for $250. We'll do the whole caboodle. We'll do the hour of coaching. I'm going to look at the profile and optimization, make sure it aligns with all the things we coach on, and then we'll do a branding kit with that. That's a huge package for $250, guys. So think about what you're doing. You don't have to use me to do it. You don't. You can do it by yourself. I show up here for free once a week to give it away, but I'm also here as a coach, right? So if you need help, you should definitely reach out right now. Any of those platforms. go to documenttheKnack.com. You can read some testimonials. You can learn more about my services. You can see all the cool stuff. But for right now, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to end the show a little early. I want to dance. I want to sing. I want to have some fun. And I want to do it with the Coffee Chats song. Thanks to Aaron Gibson for creating that for me. I still think it's fantastic. We do have some revamp coming, some new stuff, just because I need to change up my visuals a little bit. I'm going to work on that. I do have the Careers, Chaos, and Coaching next week. I said this week, it's next week. I don't know how I got that mixed up. I am going to see Scream 7 tomorrow. The kiddo has been watching Scream for as long as I can remember. I remember Scream being the very first movie I snuck into. I bought tickets to Lion King 1.5 or whatever it is, and went right into Scream. Sat down with my big bucket of popcorn and my soda, and I remember right after seeing Drew Barrymore make her performance happen, and when she left the movie, at the end of her scene, I stopped eating popcorn. And then I remember halfway through the movie, I looked down and the popcorn was still there. It went from Drew Barrymore to the halfway through the movie, and I forgot to eat the popcorn because I was so enthralled. And, you know, we've been watching it since. It's been a really great part of the family. So we're going to go see that tomorrow. I hope you guys have some plans, right? I hope you're doing something fun and passionate for you too. It really matters to check in with yourself often, to talk to your friends, get some feedback. Talk to your boss, talk to your coworkers, talk to your friends, your partners, your children. Hey, and can you just give mom a report card? Let's talk about it. Dad, a report card. Can you tell me what you see when I come in? Like, what does Monday Melissa look like? I asked this question, and I'm going to wrap up here in a second, but I asked this question yesterday to a former employee of mine who stopped in. I have a new hire there, and I was trying to explain some of the things I can do to help. The techniques we'll cover while working there. And when the former employee came in, I just said, hey, what would you tell this person is a facet of working for me? Like, what is it you would say is a benefit? And it was so cool to hear that person say, oh, she'll help you with your personal life too. Just ask her anything you want, and she'll just give you good advice. And I giggled, but this person has come to me about medical questions like, ow, this hurts. Should I get it looked at? Relationship, family, career. To be honest, I've looked at every single one of my employees' resumes with them while they're employed with me, saying we can work on this. I've looked at their LinkedIns and said, hey, this, you really, no, here's what we got to do. Right. And that's a beautiful thing for me. That's my fun. That's my passion. I can't help but sprinkle it on everything. Sometimes there's a fee, sometimes it's free, but that's who I am. And I don't want that to change. When I retire, I don't want to go away. I just want to help more people in a different way. Maybe I want to focus on this more often, but also on the ground, in person, in community. And guys, there's such a hunger for that. So if you're feeling lonely, if you're not part of a community right now, why don't you look around for something to do locally? Donate your time, volunteer somewhere, just go walk around a free park, a museum, take in the history of your town. Go take a friend out, have that same conversation, walk, go read a book, go disappear. Change your to-do list. Do something completely different for a day. If you have a routine, shake it up. If you eat at 8, eat at 7:30, unless it's medically required to eat at the time, change it. If you always have eggs and toast, have pancakes, have waffles. If you always sit on the left side of the couch, sit on the right side of the couch. If you always, park in one spot, whatever it is, change it up just a little bit. You never know what happens. Last thing I'll leave you with is we get blind. We forget. We get so busy, we forget to be children, right? And we stop seeing with our childlike eyes. But we also get into habits. Our brains are trained to assess and understand. It's just like cookies on a website. When we've seen something, it's kind of imprinted in the brain. And so when we see it replicated, we can skim over it and we just kind of already know what's there. So we don't focus on the details. What I've learned in retail is if you just quarter turn, if you just change a rotation of a rack just slightly, the customer walks in, the brain doesn't recognize it. It's changed. It pauses, it assesses. It's a trick. It's a trick I used to be up like 60% over sales of last year. The products were the same over last year. The team changed, but the habits didn't. Everything was pretty comparable, but the difference was we just turned the color a little bit. We just moved the stuff around a little bit so the brain didn't dismiss it. Every time they walked in, they were taking in new stuff. That is what I want you to do for you too. The reason I understand this works is because of coach, right? And then because I knew I was coaching and how the brain works, I just wanted to change it a little bit so they could see the variables. Even the events, if you go back, the cover photo changes slightly, not just the topic, but the image. Because I don't want it dismissed. I don't want your brain to tell you you've seen this before. If your to-do list looks the same, you're going to ignore it. You should have a habit, but not something that becomes ignored. It should be so repetitive that you, like driving, right? You know how to do it. You should never not be focused, but you automatically know what you're doing when you're in the car. You can get into habits like that, but you still have to be aware of how you're moving or you're going to end up in trouble. You're going to end up 150 miles from where you wanted to be. You're going to end up hitting somebody in a way you didn't mean to. You're going to hurt yourself. So plan accordingly. If you need help, message me. If you want to check out the website, I'd appreciate it. But mostly, can you just go subscribe? Really, I just want to grow. If LinkedIn disappears tomorrow, I don't want to be stuck here without anybody else knowing. So there is my YouTube. Go check it out, guys. Thanks so much for coming. All of my friends in the comments, thank you so much for that action and energy today. It was fantastic. It's not really easy to go live up here without some kind of feedback, but I hope you found some value and I hope you enjoyed the show and I hope you will dance the day away with me. Take care, guys. See you next time.
Creeps through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper. Conversations open door. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light.